If you've been watching my previous episodes, you'll know exactly where I am, the Sydney Motorsports Park. And no surprises, I'm back for round one of the St George Motorcycle Club's night series. This is the opening round. I've just had a day of riding the bike on a track day and adjusting the settings. Mostly been focusing on getting the engine brake to work how I want it and changing the traction control parameters, things like that. Most of the sort of general chassis adjustment settings I already knew to put the bike in from last year. So that was all pretty straightforward. And yeah, let's see what the night brings. The bike arrived with the wheels in the bike and a spare set, and they had the standard road bike discs, which are perfectly fine for fast track day guys. But when you're racing, they can warp because of the excessive heat. So I contacted Mark at Valletta Imports, and he had a set of Brembo discs in stock. And I rang him this morning, and he's come down here at lunchtime so that we can get the discs on the bike and get them bed in before the night's racing.
Probably for goal, is it?
The qualifying, I did the minimum number of laps because I wanted that tyre to carry over into the first race. I think that's what most people on the grid do, use two rears and use one for qualifying in race one and then another for race 2 and 3. I tuned the electronics a bit to suit myself. I knew a bit about what I wanted from last year, and the same with the suspension. I just made a couple of adjustments just to put it where it was last, how I was happy with the bike last year, because this bike very much is the same as the bike I built myself. The sun is starting to set for this evening, but the temperature hasn't really dropped off that much yet. We've just come in from qualifying. I just did 3 laps to keep the number of laps on the tyre to a minimum because I'm going to use the same tyre I used in qualifying in the race. So I ended up third. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I did a 30.5. I think my best ever lap time around this circuit is 29.5. So to do 30.5 in this sort of heat without doing a number of laps, I'm more of a build up to my lap time sort of person as opposed to just shoot out and do one flyer. So I'm actually quite happy with that. I think there's a bit more I can push for in the races. So yeah, just got to play out the first race and try and not take too much risk, learn the bike a bit further and see where we end up. The race itself, Senna, who qualified on pole, was too late getting out of the pit, so he started from the pit lane. So it was just me and JJ. He got a better start. Actually got a really bad start. I don't know why, but it was really jumpy off the start. So my start was poor. I was second into the first turn. I lost a lot of ground on JJ on the first lap. And then I just steadily pushed hard and just made small gains on him throughout the race. And then I made a pass on him with a lap to go, and he passed me straight back. and then I dragged him to the line with a slipstream to the finish.
Come on, to the line, to the line. Well done, buddy.
I was desperately hoping for a trouble-free night, but with the temperature being so high, it was just spewing water out after the race. We found it really hard to get the temperature back down, even with fans and blowers and stuff. So I don't know if we had a thermostat fault, but I haven't any other thermostat to put in it, even if we do. So all we can do is we've cooled it down, we've filled it back up with water, and we'll try again. And I'll keep an eye on it when I'm racing. I want to talk about the tyre warmers. We use Capit tyre warmers in British Superbikes, and I've also borrowed these Capit tyre warmers off Berletta Imports here in Australia. And I think everyone knows the need for keeping your tyres warm, but what stands out for me is that the Capit have the wraparound section that warms the rim, and that's imperative to your tyre stability, temperature and pressure stability. So last weekend I was racing in Tassie, and Josh's tyre warmers were able to reach the temperature we needed for the tyre, but we had them on for 2 hours before the race, and the rim still wasn't at the correct temperature. So we had to set the pressure in the tyre lower than the target, because I knew that when I went on track, the rim would get hotter, the pressure in the tyre would go up, and then I'd be outside of the operating window I wanted to be in. So, you know, that's a bit of a headache that we could manage on a low pressure situation. But when you're going racing and you just want to rip the warmer off seconds before going out to do qualifying or a race, you want to know that your tyres are not only at the correct temperature, but they're at the right pressure, and they reach the target that you want them to be at whilst you're racing. And really the only way to do that properly is if the tyre and the rim are matching the temperature they're going to be whilst you're racing. And I think Capit do a fantastic job in achieving that. And I'm not saying that because they're a partner of the team that we work with. I'm saying that from an honest position of, you know, as a rider, you want the bike to operate as good as it can. And, you know, you have to spend a lot of money to get a product of this standard, but motorbike racing isn't cheap. And, you know, losing a result because you didn't have the right equipment, or even worse, crashing your bike, is far more expensive than the initial outlay cost of the correct tyre warmers. race 2, I started with a new tyre and had good grip from the bike and it was performing well. I got a slightly better start, but Senna A just passed me on the Ducati. I did attempt to line up for some passes back, but it wasn't successful. So he finally won the race. I was second. Third race I got a little bit better start, but because of the hard battle I had in race 2, I'd used up a lot of the tyre, so carrying that same tyre over into race 3, I felt like I'd really penalised myself, and I didn't feel as strong as I had in the previous races, and I was taking a lot of risks to try and make up the ground that I'd lost in the opening laps whilst I was trying to adapt to the bike not performing as well. And I was making good progress. I had lost a lot of ground to the first 3, and then I was closing that up very slowly, but I was closing it up, and I just got to the back of Glenn Allerton, who was in 3rd. And unfortunately lost the front. I had used the same front tyre for the whole evening, so I think in the future I will swap the front tyre in between races 1 and 2 so that I have more grip from the front.
Now that wasn't supposed to happen.
But in any case, it was me that was taking the risks on the brakes to try and make up the lost time that caused that crash, I believe. So I'm okay, perfectly fine, didn't sustain any injuries to report of any kind, and but the bike was pretty rough looking when I got it back.
So we're at the end of the night. I'm smiling through gritted teeth at the moment. I crashed out of the last race. I was finding it really hard to maintain the lap time. The tyre allocation that I have was to use one tyre for qualifying race 1, and then another tyre for race 2 and 3. When the bike's got good grip, it works as good as any bike on the track. But riding out for race 3 on the used tyre, I really struggled to maintain the pace I needed to be at the front. I felt like I was quite good on the brakes. It was an area where I was holding my own and staying with the guys in front. And unfortunately, going into turn 6, too much speed, too much brake, not enough grip in the tyres, and I went down. So I feel like it was a pretty small crash, but pretty heavy damage for what wasn't a really, I think, a big crash. So that's pretty disappointing end to what's been a great opening round to the night series. But hey, that's racing, that's how it goes. We've got a month to fix the bike. Last year I built the bike, so I'm sure this time round I can repair one. So I'll take you through that process anyway, I imagine, so stay tuned for that.